Here we go, guys. Nice and quiet, please. Rolling, rolling.
Everybody try one. And background! Action. All right, folks, pictures up. You can try once more.
I am Jared Moshe, and I am the writer and director of Aporia. Aporia is the story of Sophie Rice. Her husband was killed by a drunk driver about a year ago. And since then, she's been struggling to be both the provider, which she's always been for the family, but also the mother to their 12-year-old daughter, Riley. Her only support, her husband's best friend, Jabir. In his home country, he was a physicist and a big scientist, and he explains how his family was killed by the National Guard. And he tried to build a time machine to save them, but he completely messed that up. And instead, he built a machine that can murder someone in the past. It's not very powerful, but it's powerful enough to kill the drunk driver before he kills her husband.
My name is Judy Greer, and I play Sophie. She is offered an opportunity by their friend who's created this machine. The way that the world changes based on this one decision, like pulling the trigger in the past, changes everything from that moment to the present moment for Sophie and for anyone who uses the machine. That's really what she's dealing with in the movie, is the repercussions of choosing to erase this person's life.
My name is Eddie Gathegi, and I play Malcolm Rice. Mal used to be an engineer for an aeronautics company, and he suffered a tragic injury, so he's sort of putting the pieces back to his life and trying to figure out what his place is. So he's struggling emotionally with losing a dream and trying to find new reasons to live. Mal is married to Sophie Rice, and they have a beautiful, fun, honest, caring relationship, which hopefully the audience roots for, because when he's brought back to life, it sets a whole series of ripple effects. It's got sci-fi elements, but it's a grounded love story. The challenge is taking this character and just trying to infuse it with as much complexity and dimension, then the love story becomes real.
My name is Payman Maadi, and I play the character Jabir Al-Karim. Jabir is an immigrant who came like 10-15 years ago to the US after the huge changes back in his country. So now he's driving Uber, and he's working as a scientist in his own apartment.
Malcolm and Jabir met at a grocery store, like your typical rom-com meet cute, reaching for the same piece of fruit, and we just hit it off, as they say.
After that, they became very close with each other since they had some mutual interest. He once said, when I first met Malcolm, it was as if two electrons collided.
We're both science geeks. I call him Faraday, and he respectively calls me Einstein. So we're just nerds. And we nerd out on all things science, and we've started to come up with this interesting project that could revolutionize the world. And we've done this in his spare bedroom, which is very odd.
At Aporia, I am exploring themes of uncertainty and how you try to control life when you can't. For me, a lot of this sort of came from this idea when I had my first kid. Suddenly everything became a lot more complicated, and the world became a lot more scary. I tried to control everything, and I wanted to control everything, but you can't. At the same time, I had this idea of a machine that could murder someone in the past. All my characters love and respect each other. They might disagree, and they might have different opinions, but they all do it in a way that comes from a place of love and a place of hope. And the conflict doesn't come from any sort of dark intentions. Jabir wants to help people. He's willing to bear that moral cost, but Sophie also wants to help her daughter. She wants to bring someone back to life who she loves, who's gone. And Mal's somewhere in the middle on that, but they're all generally aspirational ideas. Aporia has two definitions: a logical impasse or an expression of uncertainty.
It's usually used as confusion, perplexity.
It's a irresolvable something in a text, argument, or theory.
Action.
So after reading the script and really falling in love with the character and the story, I sat down with Jared Moshe, and he's so wonderful and emotional and funny and would really hold my hand through this, figuratively speaking. I thought it was such an interesting subject. Like, if you can go back in time, would you? If you can change the past, would you? If you can erase a person who's hurt you, would you?
I became involved with the project because I got a phone call that Jared wanted to take a meeting with me. I like the fact that Jared was a writer-director. Not only did he write this story, but he had a deep personal connection to the subject matter. And when a filmmaker has that kind of a connection to their material, you know that they're gonna put their heart into it and they're gonna make a good film.
Cut.
That's a cut.
You got it.
When you read a screenplay, first of all, you want to know how good the film will become, and then you concentrate more on your character. So this character was very interesting for me because he has his relationship with Mal in a certain way. He has his relationship with Sophie in a certain way. And the character was not written, you know, as a stereotypical character as we saw before in so many movies. I read it and I said, yes, I'm in.
Time travel in the movie is handled through this machine.
The way that I described Jabir's time machine is, what if you could shoot a bullet in the past? Who would you kill? You could pick a point and focus the energy there and give someone a hemorrhage in their brain. That's a gun. That's a bullet.
There are 3 rules to the machine. Rule number 1, the machine can kill and can only kill. Can't send you back in time, can't do anything else. 2, once you kill someone, you can't unkill them. 3, when you use the machine, you remember the timeline you came from, not the one you created. So if you're using the machine and you remember a person being dead, and as a result of the machine they come back to life, you still remember them being dead.
You don't really know what the effect of ending that person's life will be. And like I said, the ripple effect, the butterfly effect of one person that they don't think could ever in a million years affect them does.
It's not necessarily a time travel, it's an alternate reality. That's how our movie functions. And it branches out, and now we're just in a different point in a different universe.
Unlike any other time machine we've seen in movies before, this is a totally different. This guy is building this machine with junk parts from here and there and making it with the easiest and the cheapest materials. That's the beauty of it. That's the unique thing about this machine.
Time travel sounds great. Maybe like for a 3-hour visit. It would be really gross to go back in time. There's disease everywhere. I don't really want to go back in time. That's why I made a time travel movie that never goes back in time.
I would always be like, Jared, wait, how does it work again? And then one time Jared was like, you know what, Judy, you don't have to know how the machine works because Sophie doesn't know how the machine works. And I'm like, I know, but I really need to know how that machine works.
Cut.
Cut. All right, resetting everybody.
Time travel movies give us a chance to sort of play a mind game and explore, go back and undo things and see what happens. I wanted to use this idea of murdering someone in the past and actually wrestles with a question of should you do this or should you not in a way that feels very down to earth.
Oh, would I ever use a time machine like this? No, I think I would be like Sophie, and if I used it, I would start to lose my mind.
I bet everyone has thought about this, that if they had a time machine, would they use it?
If I could use a time machine like this, I don't think that I would, just because of all of the possibilities for the alternate universe that you're living in to be worse than the one that you were living in. You know, the grass greener on the other side.
Before this film, I had a different answer. You think about some decisions without thinking about the consequences.
You think you're killing a bad person, but is anything black or white?
There's a price for everything and you have to be very careful.
There are consequences with changing the past. When Sophie and Mal make the decision, I'm not saying there is going to be one correct timeline at the end. We don't know what timeline it's going to be. What matters, and she says this, is not what comes out, who's living, who's dead, who's that. It's that they'll have the same memories as their child, that they'll be in the timeline they belong in.
Cut. Cutting.
We had a tiny budget for this movie. We had to shoot it in 17 days, and that was a huge challenge. I'd always envisioned it to feel like a movie that could be happening probably in a place you didn't expect it to. The place where you're driving to work and, you know, going through some random little street and you look over at some building that's got trash piled up in front, and inside that building is like the most incredible machine in the world, but you wouldn't give it a second look. So that aesthetic, that vibe, very gritty, naturalistic, real world. Let's capture the world around us and make it feel like it's grounded in the world around us. We wanted to look like we had no money in a lot of ways. We wanted to look like a movie that was a documentary. Working with Judy Greer is a dream come true. I've always appreciated her as a chameleon as an actress. You know, she always plays these characters who are on the sides of the world. And she has this ability to show so much emotion in these small roles. And she can bring so much to these characters that I was really excited about the potential of like giving Judy Greer a lead role and a lead dramatic role where she could really dig in to the character. She's also a joy to have on set. We'd be shooting a really hard emotional scene. I would yell cut and then I'd hear like a joke come out of her mic.
We were laughing our asses off all the time.
And action!
Hi, Dad?
One more.
Resetting.
Eddie Gathegi is such an interesting actor. He has such a quiet gravitas to his performances. I've always been blown away by him as an actor because of this subtleness of how he brings out character and the inner lives of his characters. Just as Judy's a collaborator, Eddie is a collaborator. And I think as a director, that's something I look for in my cast. I want collaborators. He wanted to workshop scenes with me and find ways to bring out some of the qualities in Mal that he felt were there, but sort of just a little beneath the surface. And I think the audience falls in love with him. That's really important to the emotional truth of the film. I have loved Peyman Madi since I saw him in A Separation. He loves to come in and explore different takes, different ideas, and Peyman will come to it and say, well, what if we tried it like this? What works in a cinematic landscape? He's such a naturalistic actor. The way he creates the layers of his characters, they feel like they just belong in the world. When you're making a movie for this small a budget and this quick a time, you need a team that's sort of all on board. So many had read the script, so many wanted to talk about it. It was a great group of people, and I think that really helped.
We all cared about the story, we cared about the scenes, we cared about making sure that we were representing our characters well while still pushing the story forward.
Mostly it's about listening and responding in the given circumstances.
The actors on this set are so unbelievably open and kind and treat you as a peer and a collaborator and are all just incredible performers.
I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with Judy doing that because she's excellent on another level with that listening and responding. It was just a matter of learning your lines and then just being present with your artists.
Let's do one that's a little just softer.
Mal is dead. It's impossible.
Awesome. Have you been in this booth before?
So Jared Moshe is one of those weirdo geniuses that is such a good listener that you think he's not listening to you, but he hears everything that you're saying.
We had a very good chemistry with each other. We talked a lot before this film, and you could see the passion in his eyes while he's directing.
I just felt like I was always telling the truth and that we were together just trying to find more of the truth. He's also really good at talking to each actor specifically. Each actor requires a different type of direction, a different method of direction, and so he was really good at like quickly assessing who needed what.
Cut.
That's a cut.
All right, let's do it one more time.
I wanted this movie to not feel cold. Sci-fi tends to feel very cold. It has a cold aesthetic. Because science, I think, has a mathematical rigidity to it, I wanted to avoid that altogether. We chose to shoot it handheld. I wanted it to feel like this intimate docu-style story that brought the audience really close to the skin on Sophie and on Mal and on Jabir, and really everyone, so that you were empathizing with them and taking the journey with them. So Nick Bupp was an incredible cinematic partner in bringing this story to life. He understands how to create very naturalistic images. He understands where to move a camera to capture the most important sort of moments, the inner lives of the characters.
We were in small enclosed spaces, so I really felt a lot of times like I was acting with Nick. In saying that, I felt like I was acting with Nick. I felt very free. I never felt constrained by the space or the light or anything like that. He worked around us.
While we were creating a look, we weren't creating a look for a sci-fi movie. We decided we were creating a look for a love story or a character drama that just so happened to have a really crazy sci-fi machine built in the middle of it. Ariel, Vida, and Katie Simon were superstar production designers. Challenge one is you have to keep track of multiple timelines and changing the world as the machine is used. Challenge 2 is you have to build a machine that can murder people in the past. And Ariel built this machine, did an insane job. I mean, you walk in and you look at this thing and you're like, A, how the hell does this thing work? And B, she made a machine that looks like a fire hazard. You walk in there and you're like, oh my gosh, this apartment's gonna burn down. Katie had the task of keeping track of all the timelines. And I said I want it to be really lived in. And she would like take our house, the Rice house, and sort of put it together, and then we'd walk through and we'd talk about what we were doing, and then she would come over here with me to my house, which happened to be like down the street from the Rice house, and we'd go through my stuff and take my kids' art.
We were essentially erasing past, starting fresh. So many times, this department had to reset our house like 5 times. We'd be like, wait, is this reality 3 or reality 5? Wait, is this the first time or the second time?
Rolling, quiet, please.
So we shot in LA. When I wrote this story, I think I had just moved to LA, and I was sort of falling in love with LA as a character. There's a vision of LA, the bungalow houses that, you know, is on every movie. And I was interested in the other parts of LA.
Very unique to shoot a movie in Los Angeles anymore, unless it's some big budget studio movie. And even then, usually you're in Atlanta.
So when we shot the film, I really wanted to shoot it in the places that were just the most unexpected places for this story to be taking place.
Jared chose a lot of locations in Los Angeles that I had never even been to or heard of, or parts of town I didn't even know existed before.
My son does lots of sports at the local rec center, and he became friends with another family. It's just so happened that they were going to be out of town when we were shooting, and their house was perfect for it because they have a house that is in the midst of being fixed up. So it felt so much like what I wanted in the Rice house, which was a house that felt sort of stuck and unfinished. For the first 10 days, I walked to work from my house. The trailers were in front of my house, and people just were very happy to have us here.
It felt like a place where real Los Angelinos live that have nothing to do with the entertainment industry. The neighbors took such good care of us while we were shooting, and they know the secret places and the good sandwich shops and where to get a good cup of coffee.
And that's a wrap on Aporia.
I hope when audiences see this movie, they're moved to appreciate their lives and the people in it.
What would you do when you lost the person that was closest to you? How would your life unravel? And people are dealing with loss every single day. And this movie says there's an opportunity to fix that.
You can't go back in time, and you can't change the past. And this is an example of why.
You know, we make movies to entertain, to steal someone's time and mind and heart for 2 hours. But hopefully people walk away holding the people that they love just a little bit tighter.
I think that the secret to life is to love and be loved. When you love people, you'll do anything for them.
Remember that we are really just a collection of memories. And that's what our relationships are, the shared experiences we have with each other. I think we need to value those.
Cut. Cutting!